If you ever wanted to try mixed media art, but you thought it was too complicated, stay with me. I'm about to show you how to make a mixed media card that's easier than you think. Today, we're making a mixed media card using the Spellbinders Paper Arts Club kit. And I'm going to walk you through every layer so that you can do this right along with me. Before we get started though, I want to be truly transparent with you. Spellbinders does send these club kits to me to share my designs with you using their product. I'm very excited that they asked me to be on their design team, and I'm excited that I get to bring these products to you and show you what we can do with them. And I want you to always know though that I am going to be honest with you about everything that I use. Actually, if it's not of quality, I'm just not going to use it. I just don't like cheap products. And that's one of the things I have to say I love about Spellbinders. I know that if I get a product from Spellbinders, it's something I can count on. I made 3 cards using these 4 same kits, and they are completely different. And I want to show them to you at the end of this video. So stick around with me because each one has a different feel. And even though they all came from the same 4 kits. So let's get into it. Hi, I'm Jeannie Scott. Welcome to the Upper Craft Room, where we make a mess and create something beautiful out of it. These are the 4 kits that I'm using today. The first one is the Poolside 2D embossing folder. Then there's the Radiant Day 3D embossing folder. And this one's warped because I've used it on so many cards already. That happens with 3D embossing folders when you use them a lot, and it's totally normal. You can pop them in hot water to bring them back to shape, and they keep working just fine. I just love this design that much. Next is the Dots of Summer stencil, which comes with 5 stencils in this set. And then we have the Burst of Summer clear stamp and die set, which is where the sentiments come from. These sentiments are so fun, and I love the font that they use for this set. It's bold and a little playful, which makes it perfect for these summery cards. Okay, let's grab our supplies and start building this card. We're starting off with 100-pound smooth hammer mill cardstock. Nothing fancy here, just regular cardstock that you probably already have. The first layer is a light watercolor wash using GKD Blue Lagoon ink. I'm just pulling the ink across the surface with a wet brush, and these brushes from Altenew are so easy to work with, letting you move the ink where it wants to go. And I don't want you to overthink this because I'm just running the brush across the cardstock, and I don't mind those brush marks. Like, it's going to add to the mixed media feel. The whole point is to give the card some color and atmosphere before we start layering anything on top. Once our watercolor wash is dry, we're going to stamp mixed media style using Hero Art's Background Builder stamp set with Gina K's Stormy Sky ink. Now, media style just means stamping wherever feels right, letting things overlap, not trying to be perfect, because that randomness is what gives mixed media its character. Now I'm taking the Scripty stamp and I'm stamping it in random places across the panel. I took it off the block because I had more control that way. And mixed media is really about doing what works for you, not following like a perfect pattern. Now I'm adding a spotty stamp, and I'm doing the same thing. I took it off the block and I'm just putting it all over where I think it fits and looks good. This is your card. Stamp where you feel is right. Skip what doesn't work for you. There's no template. You don't have to follow any rules, and you don't have to obey anything. Mixed media is one of the most forgiving styles you can do because every layer adds depth, even the ones you weren't sure about. Next, I'm grabbing the Dots of Summer stencil. Now this stencil comes with 5 stencils in the kit, but I'm only using 3 of them today. I'm working on an Altenew sticky mat which holds the panel and the stencil in place so nothing shifts while I'm working, and that makes a big difference here because the tiny littlest shift will smear your paste. Now I'm taking a small amount of modeling paste, and here I'm using the light and fluffy modeling paste, and I'm putting it on a palette knife, and I'm pulling it across the stencil in a downward angle, just enough to fill the openings. You don't want it thick. A thin layer is all you need because too much paste will crack as it dries. Once you've covered the area that you want, you're going to lift the stencil straight up. You don't want to drag it across sideways, or you're going to smear the paste and you're going to lose those crisp dots. And if you do get a smear, that's fixable. We're just going to wipe it away gently with a damp cloth or our palette knife before it dries. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and layer the second and third stencil on top. And here's what I'm thinking as I place them. I want to cover some of the empty space, but not all of it. See how the first stencil leaves gaps? I'm using the second stencil to fill in some of those gaps, but I'm leaving some of the white space because if you cover everything, it gets muddy and you start losing the clean spots that you've already made. For the third stencil, I'm doing the same thing. I'm looking at where there's still white space and deciding whether that spot needs more or if it's good as it is. If it feels full, I'm going to skip it, but if it feels empty, I'm going to add to it. The main thing is we don't want to overthink it. You can always add more modeling paste, and if you mess up, you can wipe it off again. There's no right or wrong placement here. Also, I want to mention that you can use Post-it notes to block off, and if you're afraid of getting some of that paste onto your, I know I'm being risky here, and I'm actually risking getting paste onto the cardstock where I don't want it, but you can use Post-it notes to block that off so that you don't get paste where you don't want it, if you're worried about that. And then we're going to walk away. We're going to let those raised dots dry completely before we move on, because if you try to rush it, that's when you're going to smear something or you're going to end up making a mistake. So we want to make sure it's totally dry before we go to the next step. Once the modeling paste is dry, I'm going to emboss the whole panel using the Radiant 3D embossing folder. And yes, because the modeling paste is thin enough, I can run that through the embossing folder. The paste compresses a little, but it's going to add even more dimension and texture, which is exactly what we want from mixed media. And I'm not worried about it cracking at this point. I'm taping my panel down inside the folder with mint tape because the Radiant Day design is symmetrical, which means everything lines up evenly across the pattern. And if your pattern shifts even a little bit while it's going through the machine, your design will come out crooked. And you can see how that modeling paste kind of flattened out on the paper, but I'm okay with that. But look at all that dimension that the folder added. Radiant Day is actually one of my favorite folders I've seen in a long time. Now I'm going to spritz the whole panel with Peacock Feathers Distress Oxide ink, and this is where the card really starts to look like mixed media. And you want to hold the spritzer a few inches back so the mist is fine, not heavy. Like I get heavy-handed here, you don't want to do that. And on smooth hammer mill, the oxide will pull a little if you get too close, so light-handed is the win here. And if you find that the oxide covered up some of your modeling paste dots, as it did in mine, that's okay, because I'm going to show you how to fix those and add those back in. To do that, I'm just bringing in the stencil again, and I'm lining up kind of where those dots were. I'm not being too picky to get it exact because it really doesn't matter. They're not going to show up anyway, and what does is it adds to it, so it doesn't matter. And see, now we have our dots back, and it's all good. And now I'm adding in some white leaf branches, and this die set isn't available anymore. It's a very old, but you can use whatever leaves you had. And I'm using my tweezers to hold these together. This is kind of a pro tip. I can hold these together while I glue it so that way I don't lose the shape of how I want these to go together. And then I'm just taking and gluing it down to the left of the card panel, and then I'm centering it between the top and the bottom. And I'm just going to place my block, a stamping block, on top to hold that down so that that adheres, because there's so much dimension it's going to have a hard time. The sentiment I'm using is "let's see where this goes," and I love this one because it fits the whole feeling of mixed media. You don't always know exactly where it's going, but that's the fun of it, right? And I'm using foam squares to pop up my sentiment, and these are my favorite foam squares that I just get from Amazon. They are the perfect dimension for sentiments. And I'm just placing the sentiment so it sits right across the leaves. It's almost like it's anchoring them in place. And there you have it, our easy peasy mixed media card. Now, let me show you a few more cards that I made with the same kits because each one came out completely different. Okay, here are the cards that I did off camera. For this one, I used the Poolside 2D embossing folder, inking the recessed side with cherry red and dragging blue denim across the raised side, both Gina K Design inks. And then this one is the Radiant Day 3D embossing folder. I inked the recessed side on black onyx and dragged Tranquil Teal across the embossed side, both Gina K inks on black cardstock for a bold graphic. Now this is the same Radiant Day embossing folder with Tranquil Teal Gina K Designs ink dragged across the embossed side, but on white cardstock instead of using the black ink, which gives it a softer, lighter look. And then of course here's the one that we did together, our mixed media card. And hey, if you're still here, I want to thank you so much for spending time with me today. If you enjoyed this video and found value in it, give it a like so YouTube will tell other card makers about it. Subscribe so that you never miss a video, and hit the bell and get notified every time we put one out. Thanks again, and I'll see you in the next video.